Let's move to Richmond now. They lost by 119 points against the Brisbane Lions. It was their worst loss since against the Cats. You didn't play this game in 2007. And clearly Richmond are at a stage now where they're struggling on the field. They've got lots of injuries. But what I can bring you tonight is that there's some internal confusion at the Tigers, and it's around their game plan, Jimmy and Lee. And you might say, well, what sort of game plan can they possibly have given all the injuries they've got? That is true. But Adem Yze has come in and he's trying to play a game plan in terms of ball movement, which revolves around going long down the line to packs, like Carlton and like Melbourne. They're the two examples that he's been using internally as that's who we want to play like. But the argument against that is they don't have the cattle to do it. Even if they're full strength, you could argue they don't have the cattle to do it. But certainly, given all the injuries they've had, they don't have the cattle. And Yze, as a coach, is very new. He's very young. But in terms of offence and moving the ball, the Tigers are struggling big time. They've gone 42, 49, 42 and 44 the last 4 weeks in terms of goals. So it's 5, 6, 6, 6. And Chris Newman's their offence coach now. I'm not blaming him, but things aren't working at all. So my question to you, Jimmy and Lee, is how much can you possibly blame the coach or blame the game plan given all the injuries? I still think we need to hold those people to account somewhat. There's a nuance to this.
Yeah, look, I agree with, and they can measure effort and the way they go about it. But they've used 39 players. And you look at the list, and they even had Sam Naismith has gone down. So their backup ruckman, unfortunately, might have done another knee. So Lee and I are nearly up for the mid-season draft for the Tigers, the way they're going. So I don't know how actually you can see the game style if you actually don't have anybody to implement it properly.
Lee?
What I would have been disappointed in watching the game yesterday, when we used to do a training drill, we didn't want it to complete match practice. Well, we used to call it a shadowing drill, where one team would allow the opposition to retain possession, full ground stuff, but you'd actually just be trying to pressure them, not try and get the ball off, but pressure them. Richmond looked like the shadowing team last night. They just looked like they were just out there, but the Lions just kept finding open targets. Now, you can't have a game plan when you're constantly changing your team, because the game plan's got to be known by all the players who are all playing the same way at the same time, and it's impossible for that to be happening at Richmond when they've had so many injuries, and therefore they've used 39 players. I think you just said you just can't have that much change and be all on the same page.
And Tom, just before we get to some MRO news, you notice Richmond's side. It's not a young emerging side that we'd expect.
Now, I've said for a number of weeks now, the worst spot you can be in as a club is not where North Melbourne are because they're so young. It's being old or a little bit old and down the bottom of the ladder. And that's where the Tigers are. I mean, against Fremantle in round 8, they were the 5th oldest team for the round. Against Port Adelaide in round 2, they were the 5th oldest team for the round as well. So every round they've been in the top half in terms of age around the competition. They need to get young and quick. If they're going to be bad, they need to get young and quick. And Adem Yze had some interesting comments after the game. Do we have that audio? I think I want to listen to Adem Yze after the match talk about, I guess, the lack of rebuild that's happening at the Tigers at the moment.
I know a lot of teams do go through this when they have had success, things like that, or they're just starting out and they're rebuilding, but we don't feel like we're at that point. We feel like we can, when we've got everyone available, we can be competitive. So, we'll just keep working on our game. But, that was unacceptable.
Yeah, when everyone's available, as we mentioned, nearly everyone's had a game on the Richmond list so far. Now, the opposition, Eric Hipwood, some MRO news has come across your desk?
Yes, well, he's been suspended for a week for a dangerous tackle. He actually got the free kick for this, for holding the ball, but this was deemed careless, high contact and medium impact. I think the Lions have every chance to take this to the tribunal, but when you pin both arms and the force in the MRO's eyes is excessive, that is why he's been given a week there, and they're very hot on that. I just wonder why they can't give that low impact lead. What are your thoughts?
What I've got to say, Tom, you get a free kick and suspended.
Yeah,
That's a very unusual set of circumstances, isn't it?
Yeah.
But I go back to the spoiling. I mean, that's really just a tackle that's got slightly wrong. We now accept you're going to get suspended. Spoiling high might be the same.